You see what I did to him? Anybody who can punch hard hits him on the chin, flattens him. As far as I'm concerned, you can't put muscle around the chin. So he needs to box and move and not get hit. And he didn't show me tonight that he knows how to not get hit and keep at range and use his boxing ability. He stood in range tonight and he won the fight fair and square, but he got hit far too often by a non-puncher. You can't do that against someone who's going to land heavy digs because it's lights out, good night. And in a world title fight, they're fit and strong for 12 rounds. So you've got to worry about him.
George won almost every round. The rounds got tight as the fight rolled on.
September the 20th, 2014. 20-2 with 15 knockouts. St. George Groves. He's the WBC 168-pound silver super middleweight champion. What that means is that he's the _1 contender for Anthony Dirrell's WBC 168-pound title. Anthony Dirrell is 27-0, well 27-0-1 with 22 knockouts. If you didn't see George Groves versus Christopher Rebrasse, Christopher Rebrasse was, if I'm correct, 22. He's now 22-3-3 with 6 KOs. Now, going up against a guy in Carl Froch, if I'm correct, Carl Froch got like what, 32 KOs or 30? I'm not correct. You know, I don't remember. You can check that down below. But you can see it's like, okay, all right, it's a win-win situation. You're fighting a guy who doesn't have that much knockout power. He's slow and he doesn't throw a lot of punches, meaning Christopher Rebrasse. And also, just so happens this guy has worked his way up, you know, to be a #1 contender for the to fight for the #1 contender to be the WBC 168-pound champion. So before I go on, let me gather my thoughts because I do my video live. This is T Street Controversy, T Street Controversy Live. I cover boxing moments after each and every single major fight live. Missed a couple lately, but you know, we're getting into the groove. But listen, George Groves is good. George Groves is good, but after the 6th round, Carl Froch was right. After the 6th round, 8th round, anyone who has some knockout power will flatten him. That is an issue. It was the issue in Carl Froch 1, issue in Carl Froch 2, and now an issue with Christopher Rebrasse. Now, Anthony Dirrell, quote unquote, called Christopher. Hey, man, ask you a question. I hate when people message me while I'm doing videos. But long story, no, I'm sorry. But Anthony Dirrell called Christopher Rebrasse a bum, basically. So he's basically saying, you know, who is George Groves to be fighting him? Who is that? Now, George Groves is coming off the most successful fight of you could say the year, and most likely will be his career. But then again, you say, okay, all right, George Groves has been talking a big game. You know, and then it's crazy because George Groves before the fight was talking about he wanted to be the WBC champion before the end of this year, 2014. So at the post-fight interview, he seemed to dance away from the questions of Anthony Dirrell. My bad, I missed something. Oh, I want to hear this.
I'm going to sit down and speak to Eddie and my promoter over the next couple of weeks. But you know, whoever I fight, it's going to be a big fight. It's going to be great. It's going to be a treat for the fans. There's a couple of options, a couple of names there. I mentioned Kessler. You know, there's the new WBC champion Anthony Dirrell. James DeGale's mandatory for the IBF title. So these are all names potentially. We're still looking at Chevette Jr. because for me, I'd love to still fight in Las Vegas, the fight capital of the world. And to do what I've done in my career now, to go back to an arena and fight another British title fight, a British title fighter, you know, it doesn't really get me excited. So,
well, you don't like to know if there's a possibility.
Of course, everything's a possibility. I mean, you could fight, that's a possibility. What?
Alright, that's crazy. That's crazy. You know, I'm hearing Johnny Nelson old ass want to come back. But let me say, it's crazy. Now, this is all live. So, to run that down, so I got to do a whole video on that. Carl Froch is saying Anthony Dirrell, James DeGale, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. is still on the table. Mikhail Kessler 3, which I'm not really excited about. But George Groves, Carl Froch was calling the fight. Now, you know it was put together to be that way. Carl Froch, you know he has some issues with George Groves. He's a whining, whinging, wanker twat, if I'm correct. So, it's a respect thing there, but you can clearly tell that Carl Froch is still annoyed by George Groves. But George Groves had the nerve, after being knocked out twice, to call out Carl Froch again. Now, for him, understand me, ladies and gentlemen, I watch a lot of boxing, and I've been watching Carl Froch since Jean Pascal. First Carl Froch fight I seen. Somebody like Carl Froch, if he knocks you out twice, he's going to knock you out a third time. And George Groves does have balls to call him out again, but after seeing this performance tonight, George Groves, 6th round, he slowed down tremendously, started getting hit with a lot of shots. 7th round, he started hugging. 8th round, his legs started dragging. And then in the 9th round, between the 9th and the 10th round, you had Patty Fitzgerald saying, like, listen, we train in the gym 3 hours a day, you know, for this. Like, your mind, don't let your mind tell you that you're tired. So they know that's an issue in there. So I think he should fight somebody like Sakio Bika next. You know, that's what I think. Because even though Sakio Bika has a good chance of knocking him out, it's a credible fight. But I'm going to say this, I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live, and I cover every single major fight live. So if I was to give a grade for this fight, honestly, I'm trying to think about what can you take away from this fight, because remember, the guy only had 6 knockouts. You know, so the fact that this guy was able to hit George Groves with some clean shots, and this guy throws not a lot of punches at all. You know, he just lumbers towards you with that high guard. He got rocked a couple times, so the chin got tested. He had the stamina issues. What else? What else? Foot movement. You know, and you know, I don't know. But if he's talking about Anthony Dirrell, and remember, Anthony Dirrell, if you don't know, he has a voluntary to fight. He can fight a voluntary. Now, you see Carl Froch is in the same, you know, league. So if they want to get that money, you know, and if Al Heyman allows, thank you, Al Heyman. Thank you so graciously, Al Heyman. If Al Heyman allows, then Anthony Dirrell and Carl Froch could fight. Now, that would be a big fight among the fans. But as far as will it sell, Anthony Dirrell would have to go to the UK for that. He already said he's not going to the UK. I don't know why fighters feel so bad about going to the UK. Like, there's a lot of money over there, and there's a lot, and you gain a lot of fans coming back from there. When Terrence Crawford went over to Ireland to fight Ricky Burns, what was it, Scotland, I believe? I forgot where he went. He came back with a lot of fans. But once again, please subscribe. I'm going to be covering Kid Galahad in probably like another couple minutes. Then Showtime All Access is September the 20th. So every single episode of HBO 24/7, every single episode of Showtime All Access, every single major fight live, and every single whatever I feel like covering. T Street Controversy Live.